All right, come on. Mother's Day. Y'all ready for Mother's Day in a couple weeks? We've got a great service planned for all the moms, so hopefully you bring you and your mom. It's going to be a great, great time together. One of the segments we have about once a month or so is called Concord in the Community. The community is so incredibly important to Concord's mission that we simply believe that God has called us to be a catalyst for change. We try to focus on about 4 to 5 key areas in terms of our community engagement. Health, through our mental health work with our counseling center, education, criminal justice, economic empowerment, civic engagement. And so those are really the 5 key areas where we try to get engaged in. And so each month we try to highlight, spotlight one of our partners or someone doing something incredibly significant in the community. And I am so excited today just to share with you one of our members who is doing an amazing job. Randy BOWMAN has been, he has been a successful businessman. He's a product of the Dallas community, the Pleasant Grove community. God would then allow him to go to UT Austin from there, become an attorney as well as a very successful businessman. But then God gave him a vision for this next season of his life through a project called At Last. I can remember the moment he shared it with me. I remember the groundbreaking. I've been to the facility. But tell us more, Randy, about At Last.
Let me start by thanking you for having us, for greeting us, and for being the spiritual guidance that you've been for us. I'll tell you, here's At Last. And thank you, church family, for welcoming me this morning. I'm a 9 o'clock service member, and I sit right there every Sunday, so I'm always happy when I'm among friends. And so here's what At Last is. The best way to understand it is to understand that I'm doing it to honor the sacrifices that my mom made in my life. Pastor Carter describes a successful person when he introduces me, but the truth is I am the child of a woman who is my hero. And she started having children when she was a teenager, and I was one of those kids. And the world looked at her as if she didn't have her act together, because honestly, at that time, she didn't have her act together. And she looked at us, the world looked at us rather, as if we were just little raggedy kids following around a woman who didn't have her act together. And it was all true. But what they couldn't see is what she was pouring into me and how she was preparing me to become this person that Pastor Carter describes. And the bottom line is I felt as if the best way for me to spend the next 25 years of my life, after a pretty good run in business, the best way to spend the next 25 years of my life would be by honoring my mom's sacrifices during the first 25 years of my life, because that's what got me here. She poured so much into me that it made it inevitable that I would get to be here. But the challenge is this: I can't really honor my mom's life without looking at the women and the children who are in the position today that she and I were in at that point. And so the best way to do that was this. She would always tell me when we were growing up, me and my siblings, I just wish that I could give you all what those rich folks across town are giving their kids. And what she meant by that mostly was giving us an education that would allow us to live a better life, because life was rough in the Grove, even though she was doing her best. And knowing that that's what she wanted for us, the inability of her to give us that eroded her spirit sometimes. And it put her in a bad place. No mom wants to be unable to give their child the future they want them to have. It's bad enough that it's not great now. But if you don't feel like you're equipping them for the future, it's too tough. So I wanted to find the moms who today are in the same situation that my mom was in when I was this 9-year-old kid over in Pleasant Grove, and she was raising the 4 of us. The best way to do that was to create a way for moms today who I see in the same image as my own to give their children the kind of education they'll need for them to live a better adult life. And that's what we do at Last. We're not a school. We are actually the best friend of teachers and principals, because kids who attend At Last do better in school because of the resources that we give them. We help them to perform better during the 7 hours a day that they are in school by giving them more educational resources, like the folks across town can, during the 17 hours a day when they're at home. It's a great partnership between us and the moms. The moms are amazing, the kids are performing well, and we're just grateful for the opportunity to serve in this way.
Outstanding, outstanding. So you provide the wraparounds. Students come and live at last. They go to their school, wherever their mom or dad or grandparent has placed them, but they come there after school, live there, get homework support, get meals, get support services. It's the wraparound that helps students. They get what they need to do in the day, but this is after school. This is where they live throughout their school experience, correct?
Yeah, the difference, and our kids get judged for not performing as well in school sometimes. In fact, we get judged that way often, and we don't perform as well sometimes.
Right.
And the bottom line is we're being compared with other children who have a chance to go home to tremendous resources when they get there.
Sure.
Not simply help with the homework, but folks who teach them how to learn. Folks who teach them that you learn math differently than you learn language arts, and that you learn reading differently than you learn sciences. That's what we do during that window of time. They come to us, they get really solid learning to learn coaching. And then they get a great meal and social and emotional work over the course of the meal. And then from 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock at night, they get any training that they're interested in terms of extracurricular activities. If they want to learn how to play an instrument, we will arrange for that instrument and that lesson. If it's programming, we will arrange for a coder to come in and teach them things. If it's spoken word, we'll arrange for that. My mom would have to tell us, baby, I don't know where we go get a piano or where we go get some lessons, so go sit down.
Right.
The kids in that class don't have that challenge.
Wow.
And if you've never had a chance to see hope return to a mother's eyes when she sees that she's going to be able to give her kids the education that they need, you ought to put yourself in a position to have that. We get to do it at last. We love partnering with these parents. We love partnering with teachers and principals.
Outstanding, outstanding. As I mentioned, I remember when he just had the idea. We were there at the groundbreaking when they built that beautiful facility that you saw, and now watching it continue to grow. So what are the next steps that can happen for families, individuals in the room?
The best thing that you can do for us is start off by being great ambassadors for us. Tell everybody that you know about this resource. We are proud of it because it performs well for the kids. They perform better in school. I love the fact that we have results, and this is our 5th semester. So that's thing one. Thing two is I really want people to embrace the opportunity. You may be a mom, or you may know a mom, or you may be a grandmom or know a grandmom who's in the position that my mom was in. The best thing you can do is to move beyond any concerns that you have, any pride that you have. Accept what my mom wishes she could have had. Getting into Atlas is like getting a $50,000 a year scholarship for your child to learn how to learn better. Getting that for your child is an act of good parenting. So meet us in the concourse after service. We'll tell you more about the organization, and we'll tell you about the strong relationship that we have with the moms. We'll also tell you about some employment opportunities that we have coming up in the fall, and just opportunities to volunteer if that's what you want. But the main thing is help us uplift this community by making sure that those who could use us at least know about us so that they can decide if we're the right resource for their family. And thank you, Pastor Carter, for being who you've always been. From the first time I mentioned this to you in 2020, when we sat down over lunch, and I spoke to you as an educator, I spoke to you as a brother, I spoke to you as a friend, and as a faith leader. And as always, you led with humility and service. Thank you for that. At last, so is you a debt of gratitude.
Thank you, my friend. Keep up the great, great work. All right.